MSNBC Washington Post Democratic presidential debate. Live from Atlanta, Georgia.
But here's the challenge. We as Democrats need to fight for a just taxation system. But as I travel around the country, we Democrats also have to talk about how to grow wealth as well. When I stood in church recently and asked folks in the Black church, how many people here want to be entrepreneurs? Half the church raised their hands. If we as a country don't start, if we as a party don't start talking about how to tax wealth, but give more people opportunities to create wealth, to grow businesses, to have their American dream, yeah, we need to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour. But the people in communities I frequent, they're not asking for their lives to just have fair wages. They want to have an economy that provides not just equality in wealth, but equality and opportunity. And that's what our party has to be about as well.
Senator Warren, you wanted to respond?
Sure. So let me just tell you what we can do with that 2-cent wealth tax. 2 cents on the top 1/10 of 1% of this country, and we can provide universal child care for every baby in this country ages 0 to 5. That is transformative. We can provide universal pre-K for every 3-year-old and 4-year-old in America. We can stop exploiting the women, largely black and brown women, who do this work. We can raise the wages of every childcare worker and preschool teacher in America. We could put $800 billion new federal dollars into all of our public schools. We could make college tuition free for everyone. We could put $50 billion into historically black colleges and universities. And we can cancel student loan debt for 95% of the folks who've got them. 2-cent wealth tax, and we can invest in an entire generation's
all right, let me just,
future.
let me let Senator Booker respond.
Yeah. Again, I agree with the need to do all of those things. We're all united in wanting to see universal preschool, and I'll fight for that. We're all united in wanting to fund HBCUs. Hey, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for 2 parents who went to HCBUs. But the tax, the way we're putting it forward right now, the wealth tax, I'm sorry, it's cumbersome. It's been tried by other nations. It's hard to evaluate. We can get the same amount of revenue through just taxation. We as Democrats have got to start talking about not just how we tax, but how we grow wealth in this country among those disadvantaged communities that are not seeing it. Look at VC dollars in this country. 75% of them go to 3 metropolitan areas. There is worth in the inner city. There is a value in our rural areas. If I'm president of the United States, we're going to have just taxation where millionaires and billionaires pay their fair share. But dear God, we're going to have pathways to prosperity for more Americans. We're going to see a change in what we see right now. Small businesses, startups are going down in this country.
Senator Warren.
And it's something that
Senator
we need
Warren,
to talk about.
briefly,
New
just your last
entrepreneurs.
thoughts
So
on
I
this.
just went, the idea behind what is fair today, the 99% of America are on track to pay about 7.2% of their total wealth in taxes.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
The top
I'm
1/10
not disagreeing
of
with any of
1%,
that.
I want to say pay 2 cents more. They'll pay 3.2% in America. I'm tired of freeloading billionaires. I think it's time that we ask those at the very top to pay more so that every single one of our children gets the chance to.
Everybody
Senator
up here
Booker,
agrees
Senator
with that.
Warren,
Everybody is cognizant of
Senator
that.
Booker.
Nobody wants to.
Senator
nobody
Warren,
wants to disagree
Thank you
with
very
that.
much,
No.
Senator Warren. Thank you, Senator Booker. We're going to move on.
Thank you so much. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. That was Cory Booker as seen through the body of Ava Eisenson, and Elizabeth Warren as seen through Cario Marcel, and Andrea Mitchell as seen through Julia Vallon. Please give it up for those 3 actors. So thank you so much again for being here tonight. That was just a preview of Second Body, which is a way of seeing anybody in a different body speaking with a different voice. So the actors, as you saw, they have earpieces in, and they're hearing the voices of the candidate or the moderator, and they're saying the words exactly as they hear them. The same words, the same inflection. Oftentimes with the same inflection comes the same gestures as well. But as you saw, they're not impersonating the candidates, right? It's more, it opens up the question, what if those candidates looked like these people instead? What if it were Cario on stage with Elizabeth Warren's background and experience, saying the exact same words? Would we hear this person differently? So a few months ago, we ran that experiment. For the September debate, we had the 10 candidates at the time were represented by actors who looked nothing like them, and the audience watched it for 2.5 hours. And at the end, we asked them, based on this debate, who would you support? And overwhelmingly, the answer came back after that debate, Cory Booker, as played by Ava, who you saw here tonight. Which, it was interesting, it was not, most of the people who saw the original body debate didn't necessarily have that reaction. So it makes you start to think, how much of the way that we judge candidates or other people is actually based on their policies or their ideas or their words? So, I'm Arlo Hill. I'm a member of Sightline Arts. I'm the creator of Second Body, which we'll be exploring in many different ways tonight. And to move from the realm of the political to the personal, Second Body, it's not just a way to meet a candidate in a different body, but to see anybody differently and to have a conversation with them. So what I'd love to do next, this is the audience participation part, there's actually a lot of that this evening, is to have 2 volunteers from the audience who would like to have a conversation with each other through different bodies. All it's going to be is just a conversation. That's it. Ideally, this might be 2 people who came here tonight. It might be a couple. It might be friends. It might be enemies. Actually, enemies could be really fun. I encourage that. So, anybody, a pair who came here tonight, who would be interested in just having a simple, easy conversation. Yes? Is that a yes from both of you or just from one of you? Because, yes? Okay. The nice thing about this is that one of you will be on stage and one of you will be in the other room. So I think I know which will be which. Great. So if the 2 of you wouldn't mind, just make your way over to over where Cario and Julia are. They're going to get you set up with some headset microphones, and then you'll be brought up on stage for the next painless portion, I promise. Thank you. So right over there. And in the meantime, while they're doing that, I have a few questions. So raise your hand if you've ever wondered how people might perceive you differently if you were a different gender, a different race, or your body were just different. It's a lot of people. Raise your hand if you've wondered how people might hear you differently if you had a different voice or a different accent. A lot of people as well. Raise your hand if you've ever changed something about yourself physically. It could be you dyed your hair, you gained weight, you lost weight, something big, something small, and people treated you differently. And you noticed that. It's a lot of people too. Yeah, a very tiny example of this. I shaved my head in college for an acting role, and people started listening to me. I would speak, and they would fall silent. I felt so powerful. I should do it again. It was amazing. Also, microphone helps with that. So yeah, that's a tiny example. Obviously, there are much larger ones. Are you guys ready? Okay, one last question. This is kind of rhetorical. Imagine in the future, we can take anybody and upload their consciousness to the cloud and download it into a different body. And you meet somebody you know very well. It could be your best friend, your spouse, your parent, your child, and you meet them in an unrecognizable body, speaking with a different voice, but it's the same person. Do you think it would be possible to actually see them as the same person? That's what we're going to explore right now with our 2 lovely volunteers. Would you just come up to the stage, please? Thank you so much. Big round of applause. Come on up the steps. What are your names, please?
Mara.
Mara?
Uh-huh.
And
Ro. Hi.
And hi, Ro. How you doing? Ro clearly wants to be on the stage. We're going to get you off the stage as quickly as possible, I promise. Okay. So Mara and Ro, you're just going to be having a conversation. That's it. Mara, you will be seated here. Okay. We have, we'll see you there in 1 second. We have a list of prompts, so you can even just ask each other questions that are written down, or you can talk about whatever you like. The one twist is, your words will be conveyed by somebody else. So Mara, your words will be said in the other room by Cario, and Ro, your words will be said in this room by Julia. Other than that, it'll feel totally normal. All right, so Kario's going to bring you back in the other room, and as soon as you sit down back there, you can just start talking. And, sorry, one last thing before you go. So you're going to be looking at Julia here, but you will just be talking to her as if she is, in fact, Ro, and vice versa. Okay, see you in a bit. You can sit down here. You have these questions.
Oh, wow. Is this it? Okay.
And you can just pretend we're not even here.
Okay.
This way?
Oh, hello. Can you hear me?
This is so funny.
Oh,
Oh my God.
you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, are you talking to me? Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
How are you doing?
Hey, babe. How you doing? Good.
Where are you? You sitting back?
Where am I? I'm in some sort of room that maybe is used for storage.
Cool.
On the floor. Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too.
Are you nervous?
No. Oh, are you nervous? No, you're behind the thing. You don't mind.
Oh no, it's still like yeah.
Yeah. So, is it chilly back there or?
Is it what?
Chilly?
This is so weird.
Yeah, I know.
No, it's not chilly. I'm quite warm.
Oh, okay. Is there anybody else back there? Or?
This person is trying to be you. That's not you. Yeah. I forgot his name.
I think.
The not you. Yeah.
How are you?
I'm gonna ask you some of these questions.
You're gonna ask me these questions?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Well, let me just ask you something really quick.
Tell me something that.
What?
Oh sure.
Did you? Do we have? Never mind. That I'll ask you later. We have that one party Monday night, right?
I'm so sorry. I hate to do this. Yeah. That we're having a slight technical difficulty.
Did we lose
Yeah.
reception?
Yeah.
We can pause that conversation.
Oh, okay.
Is it going in and out?
Never happens. Yeah, it's really going in and out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll just move him to someplace slightly closer. It might just be a range issue.
Yeah.
Or they could just
How's
yell.
this-
Just
or they
talk
can just
amongst
yell.
yourselves.
It is good. Well, thank you, Ava. How's this feeling so far?
Very weird, because I think she's laughing, but it's really Ro laughing.
I think that's exactly right.
That's really weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always the initial moment of, are we doing
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
Is this you? Is this, and because Julie will be saying none of her own words.
Mm-hmm.
Or making none of
know.
her own sounds. It's all Ro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get him back?
Are you set?
I think it's good.
Ro, can you hear me?
Ro, can you hear me? Yeah. Yes.
Oh, hey,
Sorry. Great.
Ro,
Okay.
can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
You
yes,
can
I
hear me? Oh, something broke, so they had to fix it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Were you still talking?
I was definitely talking.
Oh no! How embarrassing. Just kidding. What? Okay, well, say what you were gonna say. Oh wait, one question, quick. Do we
Okay.
have we have the Vocalies party on Monday night, right?
Yes. We
Yeah. Okay, cool. Do we have to bring stuff?
do. We have to bring ourselves
Okay, good deal.
and holiday cheer.
Okay. All right. Anyway, did you say you want to say something to me?
Yeah. I feel a little awkward, so I would like to read some of the questions on the paper.
Oh, no problem.
Okay.
That works.
If you had the chance to try an entirely different life, what would that life be like?
Oh, well. You know, when I always thought I might like to be a mariner, you know, like a boat type of person. Why is that funny?
I've just never heard you talk about boats.
Well, I don't know. It was just felt like a different life. Like my Uncle Jimmy's dad was a boat guy, and he used to do rope splicing. Did I ever tell you about that?
No.
Well, let me tell you. it's like when you do ropes for boats, you got to splice them, which I don't really know what that means, but I just remember at their house, they had ropes all over the floor everywhere, and anchors in the yard. And like, I mean, I've only been on a boat a couple times, but I thought I'd be really good at it. And I thought that might be kind of fun. Why? Why do you ask? Oh, it was on the paper.
Yeah.
I never told you about the
I'm
splicing.
learning something new about you.
You never heard about that splicing?
No.
Yeah, and sometimes he'd make little bracelets out of the ropes, and like, this feels so strange. Yeah, but anyway, what about you? How about that?
If I had a chance to try out a different life, I mean, I always kind of wanted to be like a pop star in Eastern Europe.
Oh,
so that I could come back to America and like.
Eastern Europe?
Then I could. Yeah, I would.
What are you
I would
talking
go by
about?
Iranka instead of Inika.
Are you just joking around?
I'm not making this up. No.
Wait,
Like
you
because
want? No, go ahead.
I think it'd be fun to be famous away, like far away, and then come back home and then have your normal life.
So you would be an American going to Eastern Europe, not an Eastern European person coming to.
Yes.
So
correct.
you would be Ro. The pop
No,
star.
I would go by Ranka.
Oh. Wow.
Yes.
This is something else, boy. I gotta tell you, because we're talking about the weirdest stuff in the entire world.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go back to the paper.
Yeah, me too. This is so bizarre. That's so neat, the Eastern European thing, though.
Yeah, I think it'd be fun.
I guess.
If you could instantly gain one ability, what would it be?
Oh, like the effect of like having 20 years of intense dance classes. Just like being an amazing dancer.
Okay, so it's not the body, it's the ability.
Yeah. What do you mean? Yeah.
But after 20 years, you would be a choreographer, not like a dancer anymore. Which is a fine thing. That's great. That's not, less than.
If I was zapped right now with 20 years of dance experience, I would be like a fierce dancer. I wouldn't have to become a choreographer immediately.
I just don't think it's fair that you skip the work of, you know what I mean? Like, no judgment. It's fine.
Is this?
No judgment.
I don't get it. What about you? You want to gain an ability?
I guess if I could gain one ability, I like the idea of reading people's minds, but then I don't actually want to know what they're thinking.
That's really bad.
About me. I think it's really powerful.
Oh, no. There's an episode of Gilligan's Island about that. I told you that. Didn't I tell you about that?
No, you didn't.
Yes,
you haven't
I
told me a
must have.
lot of things. Like you're now telling me in front of all these people.
There's an episode where Gilligan finds a plant and they can read people's minds with this plant, and at the end of the episode he has to burn it because they're all at each other's throats. And it like almost takes down the whole island economy, whatever.
There's no okay.
Well, you know what I mean. Like, you never saw that one?
I wasn't into Gilligan's Island.
Well, I really wasn't either that much. But that was like a really iconic episode and very philosophical. And I know I must have told you.
I was born in the 80s, but yeah.
It was on repeats. I used to watch it at Grandma Ann's house.
Well, I used to watch.
All right, we're gonna pause it right there for 1 minute. So as Ro is coming back in, how was that for you? How was that?
So
experience?
bizarre.
It felt pretty normal, actually.
Oh, it did?
I don't know. Did it feel normal? Did it feel bizarre?
It just felt weird. Like, we never talked about some of that stuff. Or it just felt like, where did this stuff come from?
What do you think it was? Where did it come from?
I don't know.
Hey, Ro, come on out. Ro, applause. The real Ro, please sit down. So how was that for you, Ro?
very strange, but cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about it a little bit more. But before we do that, would you be up for one more quick version, a different kind of conversation?
Sure.
Okay. So here's my question. So Julia and Cario were just the seconds. We're just the second bodies, which is hearing somebody else's words and saying their words. Would either of you be interested in trying to be a second and being a second body?
Yes.
Yeah, Ro, you'd be up for that?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So, wow. You're like anything but my own words. Somebody else's words? Fantastic. Okay, so Julia is going to get you set up with an earpiece.
Okay.
And actually, before we do that, look straight out the audience. And I want you to repeat my words to the audience.
Okay.
Hi, my name's Arlo.
Hi, my name is
So try
Arlo.
to say them at the exact same time as much as possible.
Okay.
Hi,
Hi, my name is Arlo.
I'm from
Chicago.
You're
Originally, I
so
grew
good
up
at
in-
this. Okay, you're already an expert. Fantastic. Don't have to do any more training. We're gonna get you set up with an earpiece.
Okay.
And so how this is gonna work is Marin.
Yeah.
Marin. I was gonna say Mariner because you said you wanted to be a mariner. Marin is gonna have a conversation. Sorry. Mara. Sorry, Mara. Mara is gonna have a conversation with Ro, with somebody else through Ro. So, what can I get one more volunteer who wants to have a conversation with Mara? You'll be in the other room. Oh, fantastic. Hi. What's your name?
My name's Hannah.
Hi, Hannah. Come on up. So actually, would you mind just going right over with Cario?
Sure.
This is the part where we just trade around, everybody trades around headsets. So what's going to happen is Mara is going to be talking to Hannah, who will be in the other room, but we're going to see Hannah right here as Ro. And Mara will be represented in the other room by Ava. If you understood that, I'm really impressed. So we're going to put this earpiece on you.
Okay. So do I just?
In the meantime, Mara, so do you want to talk more about what that experience was like?
Oh, you know,
Is this the right?
it felt like I think there's something to the fact that we had both talked about things we had never mentioned before in our entire lives. I just thought that was pretty weird that all of a sudden it's like, oh, I wanted to. You never talked about ever.
We're married, so that's why she's saying it.
Yeah.
Yeah. How long have you known each other?
5 years, 5.5 years.
5.5 years.
Yeah. We've been married for like a year.
And what do you think it was? Why did that come up? Was it being in front of an audience and having to talk about something? Was it something else?
I think being in front of an audience and you're really nervous and you're asking these, you have to give an answer quickly, but I don't know if it felt like I was talking to Ro or
It's me.
this other person.
Yeah.
It was just quite weird. So I felt like we were not talking. No, I guess we were kind of talking the normal way we do.
I think this might be weirder though.
Yeah.
She just whispered some stuff.
Oh, okay.
So you were talking to Ro, but it wasn't Ro.
Oh, no.
Now you're going to be talking to somebody who isn't Ro, but
But it
it's
is Ro.
So Hannah, would you just talk for a second to make sure Ro can hear and just say her words?
Hello.
And just start to say her words.
Hi, it's me, Hannah.
Fantastic. This is going to go so well. All right. So Hannah, would you and Ava go in the other room, please? As soon as you sit down, you can start to have a conversation. You will be talking to Mara.
Oh, it really feels like I'm talking to Ro.
We'll see how that progresses. And just, once again, just pretend we're not here.
Okay.
All right. It'll be easier for Hannah in the other room.
Cool. Hello, Hannah. Can you hear me? No.
Hello. I can hear you. Hello.
Okay. How you doing back there?
I'm doing all right. I'm excited. I'm reading the questions.
Okay.
One of them is, what is your greatest fear? That doesn't feel very casual to me.
No, that's
So
the
I find
casual
that funny.
questions. Where are you from, anyhow?
I'm from Shaker Heights, Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Same place as Arlo, actually. Went to high school together.
Oh. Arlo's the dude in this dude, right? Yeah.
The guy who just talked to you.
Okay,
by the-
cool. Oh, how neat. Shaker Heights, Ohio. I'm from Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So not too far.
Ugh, Midwest, what's up?
Yeah.
We're very nice people. I
Yeah.
can tell.
Do you guys have
Whenever I'm in New York, California, you meet someone, they just have a good, nice vibe. They're
guys have,
always from Ohio, Michigan, or Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's true. Do you guys have George Webb down there?
Not to my knowledge.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It's a burger spot.
Oh, yeah. Well,
wait.
we got, oh my God, what's the name of the really good New York burger?
Shaker Shack?
The famous one, Shake Shack. We just got a Shake Shack.
In Ohio?
In Shaker Heights, Ohio, we got a
Wow.
Shake Shack. It's a big deal.
That is a big
It's pretty
deal.
exciting. We're on the map now.
We got an Applebee's when I was in high school in Sheboygan, and it was like, that was like still the most exciting thing that's ever happened in Sheboygan.
Happy is after 10 p.m. High school dream.
Yeah. Wait, what? What's that mean?
Half off appetizers.
half off
after
appetizers.
10 p.m.
Oh.
Sorry, that was confusing.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Anyways.
Okay. Do you want to read one of the questions or something?
Sure. Let's see. None of these are very casual. What are you excited about these days? That seems positive.
Oh, I don't know. Let me think. What am I excited about? Well, I don't want to sound like a Scrooge, but I'm a little excited to sort of not have to do so much Christmas stuff. But my wife really loves Christmas stuff a lot.
So you're excited to not do it. How are you going to avoid doing it?
No, that's not true. It's not. That's how I mean it. That's not really what I meant. Not that. Just sort of like, I don't know. Just
You know what?
What?
I think I understand, maybe. The holidays can either be very relaxing because you don't have work and you can just kind of cozy up with your boo, watch some TV, get the blankets going, or you can make it stressful.
That's true.
And so maybe you're going to try to have a low-key, jolly holiday time. I'm excited about the holidays as well.
Yeah.
I'm going to Germany.
What? How long are you going?
For 3 weeks. My sister lives there. And
Oh, wow.
the Germans really know how to do Christmas.
Oh, I imagine.
They really know how to drink outside.
Like
so that's
Kris
great.
Kringle?
Like Kris Kringle.
Where in...
Does
where,
Kris Kringle...
I don't know. What, where in Germany?
I'm going to Hamburg.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, they do a very cool thing where a person in the town dresses up as Santa Claus and goes to every house.
What?
And
In
you leave
every
the
house in Hamburg?
presents for the kids. It's a tiny town near Hamburg
Oh.
called Buchholz.
I was going to say, that's a lot of houses.
yeah,
Hamburg's
it's a
like
lot.
a real city.
It's a real city.
I mean, they'd need like a fleet of Kris Kringles.
Indeed. I think it's more of a small town charm kind of thing.
Neat. Oh.
But yeah, my nephew's 2, and he fully freaks out, and it's adorable.
Well, that is really great.
Let me do a question.
Okay.
What is something you never feel like doing, but are usually glad you did?
Oh. I guess brushing my teeth.
I feel you. I have a lazy
I don't ever feel like doing
evening
it.
ritual.
But it's, you got to do it. Or you won't have any teeth. As my wife,
I
as my wife
love
would say.
having teeth. It's one of my favorite activities.
Yeah.
And also washing my face.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like, do I have to wash my face every day
Yeah.
for the rest of my life? I'm exhausted thinking about it.
Yeah, well, I mostly just don't, you know. I feel fine. I mean, I do it sometimes, but
You know, it's the beauty industry trying to make us think we have to do all this face washing. Maybe we're just fine.
well, it can really dry out your face. You're not supposed to wash your hair that much either. I saw it on Oprah, like when Oprah was still on.
Well, if Oprah said it, then it must be true.
I remember that one, and she said we wash our clothes too much too, and we take too many showers, and it dries you out, maybe, or something like that.
I hear if they're real jeans, like old school jeans without the stretch, you're supposed to wash them between once a year and never ever, not even once. So says Levi's people.
Like the raw denim or whatever they call that.
Just old school denim that's not stretchy.
Like gold miner denim pants.
Sure, gold miner denim.
Well, you know what I mean.
No, I do. I've been watching Ken Burns' The West.
We're going to pause it right there. Thank you so much. Huge round of applause. Huge round of applause. Woo! That was fantastic. Ro, I have to say, you didn't want to get up on the stage originally, to begin with, and you just spent a very long time talking. How was that?
It was a lot more fun being the in between, the second body.
Interesting.
It was really cool.
You enjoyed saying somebody else's words rather than your own.
It was very funny.
Interesting. How was that for you?
Well,
Mara?
I just don't want you to think I really don't love the Christmas stuff. There's just a lot of...
Hannah, welcome. So, actually, would the three of you just stand up for one moment? They're going to shift the chairs back and give you a microphone, so we can just talk for since you love just talking on the stage. We're going to do it for another minute. Hannah, meet Mara.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, nice to meet you.
Good. Yeah, that's so neat about
Ira.
the Santa thing.
Yeah, it's cute as hell. Check my.
Sorry, you can
Instagram.
just come stand to the front if they're going to set up these seats.
Oh, I get it.
So, what was that like for you, Hannah?
Oh, so weird. Yeah, I couldn't read. I couldn't. It's like I knew they were giving me as much facial expressions as they could intuit from your voice, but like to not be able to look in your eyes and see how things are landing. I was surprised how much info you lose from not being able to. Yeah. Or it was like I guess I should have just believed that the person I was talking to was the person. I kept being like, but what is this person looking like right now? So I was having maybe trouble buying into.
Mara, who did you feel like you were talking to?
Oh, definly Ro.
You felt like you were talking to Ro.
I was going through the motions with all that Santa stuff because I felt like I was not expressing myself clearly about the Christmas season. I didn't mean it that way. It's just sometimes it gets stressful. Yeah, you understand, right?
And Ro, did you feel like Mara was talking to you?
I felt like she was talking to me
Yeah.
as Ro.
Yes.
No, because I felt very much like I was channeling Hannah.
Yes.
Yeah. It was cool because you have to concentrate so hard on like what they're saying and how they're saying it. It was really fun.
So you didn't feel like you were yourself?
No.
Huh.
I felt like I was worried about just like I'm a fast talker and a storyteller, so I was like, okay, slow down a little and don't just like verbal diarrhea.
Yeah.
So I hope that I didn't give you too much of a
No, it
challenge.
was great.
Well, Ro, I have to say, I've been doing second body for a while, and you're one of the best instant second bodyers that I've ever seen. That was really impressive. If you were to do it again, would you be interested in like it being somebody else whose words you're saying? What did you find? Yeah, what was it?
It was just I don't know what I think it was. You just don't realize how much like meaning kind of comes, or like how much you can feel of a person just by what they're saying. And I felt like I kind of had a different experience when I was talking to, I forgot his name, Cario, because I felt almost more endeared to him because he was saying what my wife was saying. You know what I mean? Like it felt, I don't know. I didn't feel like I was.
You felt closer to him because he was.
And he was smiling when
voice,
it sounded like she would be smiling and like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you feel like you were talking to Cario or talking to?
I wasn't really thinking about Cario, yeah. I was
Interesting.
more just talking through Cario.
Interesting.
I
Wow.
guess that's what it's like if you went to like a psychic and they were channeling a ghost or something.
It might be. it might be. It is a little ghost.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Well, we'll have a chance to talk some more about it and to get the audience involved, have a Q&A later. Thank you so much to the three of you for being such good sports, trying this out. Thank you. You can go head off your mics down there. Thank you. Thank you. Before we go to the next section, there's going to be an opportunity later in this evening for one more volunteer. This is going to be a little bit different. So I'm going to ask the question now so you can think about it. Is there anybody out there who has always wanted to do stand-up, but you just don't have the material? Yes, we are going to do second body stand-up comedy, which is a first. There will be a stand-up comic in the other room speaking through somebody who wants to deliver their material. So we're going to identify somebody to do this now, then we can sort it all out later. Is there somebody who's interested in doing that? Wow, there's a lot more hands suddenly. That really changed things. Let's see. Sir in the back. Oh, yes. Hi, what's your name? Robbie? Okay, Robbie. So not now, but in about 15 minutes, we'll let you know so that you have time to think about it. We will come and get you all set up with a stand-up comic who is going to be speaking through you. In the meantime, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to think of any material because it will all just enter your head magically. Thank you, Robbie. So this next section, we're going to have now a panel discussion on all the different questions that this raises, issues of the body and identity. This is going to be with journalist Leah Fessler, diversity and inclusion expert. Yes, Leah Fessler, diversity and inclusion expert Chanel Ward. It will be moderated by dramaturg Linda Paul. I'm going to be joining in on the discussion as well. But please welcome to the stage Leah, Chanel, and Linda.
I just want to keep listening to this. I don't want to talk anymore. So interesting.
Yes. I'm so excited to introduce Leah and Chanel slightly more in depth. Leah's work seems to intersect gender, business, economics, feminism. She's a writer, reporter. She also works in investment. She supports business from a variety of angles, and an article that she wrote on the digital avatars Siri, OK Google, and a few others about their voices and what they said about gender was nominated by the publisher for a Pulitzer when she wrote it, and it's a fantastic article. And Chanel is NYU Tish's inaugural Assistant Dean of Diversity, and her work spans a lot of inclusion and equity issues in higher education, and I'm so excited to invite the two of you now, having seen Second Body for the first time, to share a little bit about your experience watching it. What was that like for you?
Bizarre.
So crazy. I sat at our kitchen table this morning and told my fiance that we were going to be watching an avatar on a screen presenting through another body. And not at all what I expected.
Yeah. But there was something that made a lot of sense to me in my work, just about the permissions that are granted based on the perceptions and limitations on body language and perception. So I can't wait to dig into this more. I need to see more. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it feels really addicting. I feel like I just watched the movie Her in like fast forward, slow speed, but just all different types of things. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that one scene in the movie Her that raises some questions about the there are some interesting issues with the physical versus the vocal elements of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So how does this resonate with your work for the two of you in terms of representation and identity and ethics and how people perceive others moving through the world?
Yeah, for me, it's really interesting because I spent a lot of time thinking about the ethics of imbuing a technological manifestation like a digital assistant that presents itself in the form of like a metal cylinder with a female servitude character. And that is really fucked up on all sorts of levels to me. But it's just really interesting to think, you know, so much of history has been defined by women, people of color, people of all sorts of marginalized identities performing servitude on behalf of others, and often when trying to assert their power being deemed pathetic at best, if not flat out discriminated against. And so to me, it's just opening all of these amazing ideas about, you know, what if I could walk into that boardroom where I was rejected for the negotiation and the raise and told I was selfish, but in the body of a 6 foot tall, bulky man who went to Harvard. And I'm like, that would be really interesting. I want to do my next promotion negotiation through second body.
Yeah, I think having had the privilege of being in spaces where I am sharing and training and facilitating dialogue that is often very challenging based on histories of oppression and you know, inviting people to really reckon with really challenging content. It's such a beautiful focus group in terms of I have a really great reading on what might be triggering, what may be easier, right? And I think that social proximity, the permissions we grant each other, who is able to say what in what body, these are the questions that really come to me, right? The things that I say, would it be received if it was in another body? Or is it received even more because of the body that I'm in?
Mm-hmm.
How do you think second body intersects with those? Do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, just like as an actor, I did my training as an actor at NYU, and it's there's, especially now, as there should be, just so many questions around representation and who should I be willing, desirous of, or able to play on stage. There's a lot of questions there. Some are about taking roles away from people who are underrepresented in theater. Others are just, you know, about a history of representation or misrepresentation. And there's so many things bound up in it. In a way, there's something about second body, because instead of I'm being this person, like Ro wasn't being Hannah. I am now telling Hannah's story. I am Hannah. She was almost like, I've been a second body a lot. I really love it. It's really addictive. And it feels like you're performing a service and helping somebody communicate through you. And in a way, it's very simple. They're allowing you to say their words. And so, yes, you can have a different person speaking through a different gender, a different race, but it's not, you're not taking ownership of I'm telling your story. You're letting them tell the story through a different vessel. So it raises a lot of the same questions, but I think sometimes it's slightly lighter in a way because it's done in a spirit of offering.
Yeah, that really resonates with me because so much of the time when I've reported on why people feel so paralyzed in the context of work or in relationships due to their race or their age or their gender, whatever it might be, sexual orientation, it's because they wish they could escape the internal monologue. And so it's not actually like playing someone on stage is one thing, but I think what people are trying to escape is this feeling of like, I wish I just wasn't thinking about how shitty I am and how unqualified I am all the time. I wish I could just like get up there and do it how we think this other person might. So that's what seems so liberating about being a second body is you're not actually impersonating this person, as you said. Like you quite literally don't have to think about anything. And that's what feels so liberating about it.
I think that freedom, what I perceived in the very beginning of this negotiation, are you there? Is it you? It was almost like the mind was glitching. Like, I can't default to unconscious bias. What the fuck is going on? Right? And that was powerful, right? Our brains are hardwired to default and to understand and to want to understand. So to not have that in, opened the gates for a great deal of empathy.
That's really interesting. Yeah, when obviously it's put me in a weird headspace to have spent a lot of time talking to people through other bodies, but what I've noticed when I've done that through a long time, you keep on having to tell yourself, these cues I'm getting based on this person, the way they're looking at me, the way they're moving, the way their voice sounds, that's not the person I'm talking to. That's not you. And you start having to divorce what you're seeing and what you're hearing from the person behind the face. And it's very difficult, but you actually force yourself to do it because that's what's the case. That's what's true. And it puts you in a weird place where you walk out in the world and you start looking for the person behind the face.
I was saying
which
that's
I think we could use a little more of.
Yeah, the ethics of that are so interesting. If like what we're paralyzed by is that internal monologue, perhaps like in your next conversation, you're questioning what is really behind that person. And it might not be obviously another person sitting in another room, but nobody is actually presenting exactly what's behind their physical facial cues. So it just becomes like kind of a mind.
This also feels like a tool to mitigate bias for me,
Yeah.
right? If we change the input, will the output change, right, in some ways? If things are packaged differently, can we hear it differently? I mean, that's huge. Second body for an interview process?
Yeah.
Wow.
This is something I'm really interested in exploring more. So we did like a mock interview where 10 candidates were all interviewed through the same body. Cario was the second for 10 different people. And the interviewer didn't know the gender, the race, the dialect, the height, anything, but formed a distinct impression of 10 different people. So that was really interesting. Like, whether it's interviews should be done through this or it's training for interviewers, it's just I do think there's a lot to explore there.
Totally.
Yeah.
This is great. Yeah, in the areas of unconscious bias and empathy, these are massive issues in the workplace, in educational institutions, online, as well as embodied. And it's really exciting to hear that people are imagining this for other contexts. I'm wondering if we'd like to open it up to the audience to ask some questions of the three of you. And you are also welcome to ask questions of the audience if you want to talk a little bit more about their experience. And we'll give all of you here a chance to respond to what you've been encountering.
Sorry, I'll just add, this is also a chance for our budding stand-up comic to be found by the actors to be set up for the next part.
I actually cannot see.
I think someone's going in the mic.
Ah, great.
Hi. Oh, hello. Oh, there it is. Hi. I have a question about the interview, actually, where you had 10 different people being interviewed, and I know that so far the implication has been you're just channeling somebody, and that's a really active process. You just need to get the words out. But do you think that there might be issues if someone's hearing somebody and it's like, okay, I hear this person, they sound female, or perhaps they sound they have a certain dialect. Is there a concern about how that interpretation might be affecting things? And did you see that in how the interviewer interpreted the 10 different personalities?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I think if you imagine, I don't know, some people have posited maybe in the future that interviews will be done through a digital avatar that's androgynous and everybody looks the same and everybody sounds the same. It will eliminate bias from some phase of the interview process. Doing that with a person, with a human being, is a little bit different because they have their own take on what they're hearing, and if they have trouble hearing a word and they say it differently. So we did it. It was like a single test to see what could this be like, what would it be like. So I think within that sample size of 10, I don't think we experienced that, but I think it's something really interesting, because something about this was I think Rose's experience of saying Hannah's words was so interesting. So just leaving that out of the picture and saying it's this person being represented to this person by the same person every time, I think there's a lot more going on there. So yes, to respond to your question, yes, I think that's all. Those are big questions.
This is great. And this makes me wonder a little bit about how people get attached to their own identity markers in their body. We're talking a lot about ways to escape those. But of course, for many people, they feel intimately connected to who you are as a self, not just a separate mind and body, but somehow kind of the whole goes together. And I wonder, how that might figure into thinking about embodiment, again, in tech design, perhaps, in institutions, in the workplace.
You mean kind of like the attachment to your individual identity?
Yeah. Second Body seems to raise both sides of this, right? The sense that it's very freeing and liberating, but also the sense that it can be weirdly unmooring, right? And it does do this thing of separating the mind and the body a little bit.
Yeah, I think something that I've noticed in research with observing and asking people about their interactions, for example, with tech products that speak back to them, like we call like a Google Home or an Alexa, like an AI, questionable whether that's AI or like a really good speaker. But I think what we found is that, and what I've read about a ton in other people's research, is that people, especially children, form really uncanny emotional attachments to these pieces of technology because of the way that they speak back to them. Almost completely, it's programmed, right, what they're saying back to you, and to some extent, and so it's completely free of bias to some extent. So when I say, something to the Alexa and it responds to me extremely upbeat, or like we were playing around with it the other day, we recently just got one, and I told it, like, I'm sad, and it responded, like, I'm really sorry to hear that, and it gave me some suggestions of what I could do to feel less sad or potentially get help. I just think it influences your identity to some extent. I don't know if that has to do with your personal identity markers, but we're so used to being reacted to by the people we speak to in expected ways based off of habits that form of our being in our own bodies for our entire lives that it's almost uncanny. We find in the research how enjoyable it is to be reacted to in novel ways. And I think that's kind of why we've become oddly emotionally attached to the tech products. But I remember Rose saying like she felt kind of like kinship with the actor who is portraying her wife, because I don't know, it's just like you like someone that feels like they're seeing you,
For me, this all feels like social architecture, right? Like we're no longer able to rely on the social constructs such as social identity to guide us in certain ways. So it provides a window into what can be without the infrastructure being built yet.
Totally.
Yeah.
I want to open it up for a couple more responses from the audience.
Yeah, so you guys have kind of responded a lot to, or talked a lot about what it's like when two people, when someone is in the second body who doesn't have a close relationship, it's new, it's a job interview, what have you. I wanted to bring it back to that, like the conversation that Ro had, and what if the two people have an intimacy, a pre-existing intimacy, and how that changes things? I'm particularly curious, Arlo, if you've seen like reactions like that, like what we saw before, how it opens up like new paths of conversation that hadn't been there before.
So I'll say, I think some of the most interesting experiences of second body that I've witnessed, and sometimes they are in front of the public, but oftentimes it's private, one-on-one or two-on-two, but it feels like one-on-one. Is people who do know each other very well, couples, whether early stage couples, we did a first date once, or people who have been together for years and years, and they say oftentimes, I felt like I heard this person in a new way, or they've been saying this again and again. I feel like I heard them for the first time, or that they were able to say something that they weren't able to say to that person face to face. I think the concept of like habituation and how the people we know best, we sometimes don't really see, we sometimes don't really hear. So as a tool for just seeing somebody differently, I think that's been something that unlocks the ability to actually communicate with somebody, that you might not otherwise be able to. So that's been a really interesting experience. That's certainly hard to do also in front of an audience, right?
I just think our social proximity informs what we can say, what we won't say, and how we say it. So I think it's important. I know in kind of the work that I do all the time, how are we uncovering? How are we exposing? How are we identifying gaps, right? So if there's an intimacy and a social proximity, but not prompted by that look you're going to give me when I say that thing or the tone that comes out, right? Then you're willing to explore. It feels a bit more low risk, right? And what would the world look like if all of these conversations felt a bit more low risk?
And it's weird because it's something we're able to accomplish online sometimes, have that distance and that safety, but this is doing it face to face with a person. Yeah.
Great. We have another question from the audience.
Yeah, I wanted to pick up on that problem or that question, which is interesting because it's a combination of there's so much physical communication that happens in a face-to-face conversation. And I was really struck by the point that I didn't know how I was being received because I couldn't see the person I was communicating with. I was seeing someone else who was sitting in for that person who was injecting his or her own idea of what the response would be. And so there's both a combination of safety. It's sort of interesting, right? Online creates safety, but it also creates lots of danger too. And I'm just interested in your reactions to that because that's one area that I wonder whether this intermediary creates this. There's so much communication that's being lost because there's no physical reaction to it. It's both positive and negative, as you say. It creates a space for safety, but it also creates lots of potential danger. So.
Yeah, I think the way my mind works is my stream of consciousness, is it danger because we don't know it? Is it true danger? Have we assessed it to be dangerous? And until I know that, I don't know if I would need to know what the consequences are. I think it's going to be contextual, right, based on what the conversations are, right? We're not going to sign legislation through Second Body.
Or will we?
But I wonder where the notion of danger comes from. I just think from a humanistic space within me, it seems exploratory in ways that we need.
Mm-hmm. I think it's a really similar push and pull that we've thought about within digital communication of all kinds, especially just like text-based communication at large. Like spent a lot of time thinking about the gender dynamics of how they play out on workplace communication platforms like Slack. And linguists have actually been studying this for, decades, basically since the beginning of the internet, and realizing that, in some ways, digital communication has empowered women and marginalized populations to speak up in ways that they wouldn't have felt comfortable otherwise. But it also, on the flip side, there's decades of research that show men interrupt women just as frequently digitally as they do in person, if not actually more, and that people who are in positions of power societally can almost amplify the aggressiveness and perceived anger of their criticism when they're in digital spaces. Is something that I personally experience a lot. For example, being a public journalist on Twitter, it's like people tell me the craziest evil things I've ever heard in my life on Twitter that I would just challenge them to say the same thing to my face. So I almost feel like the second body is kind of a nice intermediary because you're not going to flip out at somebody when you actually are seeing a human face, even if it is not the human face you think you're talking to.
I think it could also, because I'm thinking, my mind is going, I think it could feel dangerous because we're relying on humanity in a different way through this mode of communication. I think it could also feel really dangerous and potentially threatening as well because we don't have the systems to uphold maybe the reality that can come from this type of communication.
Totally. It's like what happens after the interview when you realize.
Yeah. I think that's exactly right. I feel like because often people describe it as this cognitive dissonance. I'm talking to this person, I'm talking to that person. Which am I talking to? Okay, they resolve it somehow. People have said I projected this person's face onto that person's body. That's what I saw. Really. So there is that strangeness, and then the perception of danger that comes with that, because danger is the unknown, right? We don't know if it's dangerous or yet not yet, so it feels dangerous. So, like, for example, we had a couple talking through Second Body, and towards the end, as I had asked her to do, it was, I think, I can remember Julia, I think, who let them know just to say we have 5 more minutes. She was talking, she was the other person, then she went, letting him know there were 5 more minutes. And afterwards he said, it was so shocking, because he was talking to his girlfriend there, and then suddenly this other person appeared, because he felt like he was talking to her. It was a 45-minute long conversation, and 40 minutes into it, suddenly she went, and he was like, all of a sudden this other person appeared. So it was like his mind had decided one thing, and then all of a sudden it was like, nope, that's not right. So yeah, I think like there's definitely a delicacy that's important to this, and whether it's real danger or perceived danger, I think like being aware of that as we explore this new form of communication is, I think, really, really important.
And it seems like, right, the big difference between someone speaking through a digital voice versus someone seeing just another human body is that we do leave in all of that humanity in the communication, even though it's being mediated, as we were just talking about. Very different experience than someone saying it through a neutral digital voice. I think that we are at the point where we're going to wrap up here, but let's all thank our panelists. And I'm sure everyone will be happy to continue the conversation afterwards. And now, remember Robbie, who volunteered earlier to be the second body for a stand-up comic? Well, he should be on his way out here any minute. And remember, he'll be saying the words of Julia Johns, who is performing live in the other room. And here he is. You ready to make your stand-up debut?
Yeah. Good job, guys. Yeah.
All right, we're already beginning.
Oh, hey! This is crazy. How's everyone doing? Good. Wow. All right. I should try to do some crowd work. Sir, where are you from? Cool. Great place. That's a good place. This is crazy. This is totally different than people having a conversation. It's probably not going to be as deep, probably. But I was watching those conversations. But anyway, that's the comedian's personal thoughts on this. No, we were talking about brushing our teeth, and it's crazy that our teeth are bones, right? That's crazy. I mean, that's crazy. But they're little and cute though. So that there are display bones. Like, look at that. That's a smile. All my other teeth, all my other bones, they're covered in blood and guts, so I keep them on the inside. But anyway, so I'm taking the subway, and I bet you guys and everyone else, I'm losing my audience back here. But when there's a sick passenger on the subway and it holds everything up, it's very annoying. I was on the train the other day, and they said, somebody just fainted on the train. This train is no longer in service. Everybody off the train. And I was like, why does this person need 15 empty train cars? Like, what's the logic there? I was on the train. I was standing on a train. This is what I did before. It was in the morning. It was rush hour. And I'm standing up, and I kind of felt like I was going to faint, and then I did. And then I came to, and everyone was looking at me, and I was collapsed on the ground. But the doors were open. Everyone had cleared. Who knows how long I was out for? So I stopped, and then, okay, goodbye. And then I got off the train, and the conductor was like, excuse me, we have a medic coming for you. And I was like, no, send him back. Keep this train moving. Get these people to work. Thank you so much. Are you guys all clapping for me? I can't hear it. Oh my goodness. I was talking to my dad recently. I called my dad, and this is okay. When I talk to my dad, we usually have, there are 3 things that we talk about. Maybe you guys have this too. We talk about the weather, classic, that might be on your list. We talk about my computer is running. And we talk about animals in my parents' backyard. My parents live in Ohio. They got a lot of squirrels, a lot of deer. It's very exciting. Also, my dad, he feeds the stray cats in the neighborhood. So are you awing? My mom never wanted pets in the house, so my dad was like, fine, I'll raise a crew of them in the backyard. So he's like feeding all these stray cats, and my mom has this new development, or my dad, he has purchased 2 small insulated houses for these cats. And it's wild. This one house it has too many cat houses. 2 houses. That's a town. So look at that cat. He's got a neighbor. So electric houses. They're self-heating houses. The cat walks in. The bedding, it warms up for this cat. Yeah, it's wild. One time I went camping as a kid and I forgot to bring a sleeping bag, and my dad said, use the sweatshirt. So it's kind of hard to watch him care for these wild animals. My dad is actually watching a live stream of cats, but that's not true. He'd bring a sleeping bag for me, but he's a good dad. I think it's crazy. I don't have any kids. Does anyone here have any kids? All right, yeah, look at you. You got kids. Wow. Oh, you don't have kids. You don't have kids? Okay. By the way, a lot of people yawning in this crowd, okay? You better wake up, slap the person next to you. I hope you're entertained by this. Anyway, I don't have kids. And I think it's crazy how ready a woman's body is to have kids. Like, that's crazy. Like, from a very early age, a girl has a period, and that's her body being like, I know what I'm here to do. And I'm gonna spend the next 30 to 40 years trying to do this. This is my impression of a woman's uterus. Once a month, every single month, okay? Here we go. Okay. Oh my gosh. I think this is it. I think it's happening. Oh my gosh, we're having a baby. Oh my God, this is so exciting. I gotta get this place ready. I gotta turn this place into a womb. I gotta put some padding up on the walls. Okay, this is great. Now we wait. Okay. Nothing? Okay, nothing again. Okay. I guess I'll just take all this hard work and flush it out your vagina. Okay. It's gonna take me 3 to 5 minutes to get rid of all my materials. Okay, that's great. All right, we're gonna try this again. We'll try it again. That's biology, folks. Okay, these people. Biology lesson. Do you guys like my singing? I can say whatever I want. Ooh, wow, I'm high. My voice got high. I'm not high. I used to be a teacher. I taught 7th grade, and it's similar between teaching and stand-up. You're talking to a group of people. Sometimes with stand-up, there's a bright light shining at me, and I can't see people's faces. And I was thinking that would have been really nice to have when I was teaching. I don't know if you guys know this. I don't know if you've seen a middle schooler lately. They are atrocious. They are hideous beasts. Even the good-looking ones are monsters. So every day I had to come in and stand in front of 25 human beings at physically the lowest point in their lives, okay? It was exhausting. And then it blows my mind every time I read about a teacher having sex with a student, because I'm just like, what? With them? Ugh, you know? I had maybe 3 students I would consider sleeping with. The rest of them, whoa, woof. Okay. I'll tell you one more joke. Do you guys remember the board game Guess Who? Do you remember? Do you remember how there were like 4 women in that game? And like 3 black people? There were more white dudes with orange hair than there were women or people of color. It was insane. It was like, it sucked, because when you had a girl, the first question the other person asks is it a boy? And you go, no. And then they just go, they just put down every panel Is it Claire? Yeah, it's Claire. Yeah, it was like brainwashing you to hate women. You know, and do you have a girl? Yeah. the company name Hasbro. You think that's a coincidence? I'm on to them. I'm gonna make a game. It's gonna be called Guess Who? A Woman, bitch. Every panel, it's gonna be a woman. So you're gonna have to be way more specific with your questions, and you're gonna have to be like, does she have bangs? Does she regret getting them? Okay, it's Vanessa, isn't it? Yeah. That's my time, folks. You've been great. Thank you so much.
Give it up for Robbie. Robbie, fantastic. That was amazing and a first.
Yeah.
How was that?
It was really, really strange. Yeah. I have no idea what happened for the last 5 minutes because I was just so focused on, what they were saying.
Yeah.
That
yeah.
I don't know if people laughed. I don't know if it was silent for the last 5 minutes. Like no idea.
I think they laughed. I think neither does our stand-up comic. So is our stand-up comic gonna come out now? Our other stand-up comic. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Our source for the stand-up comic. They're still applauding for her back there. She's still, here she is, Julia Johns, come on up. Woo. The two of you are a killer team.
All right, yeah?
So from now on, are you gonna do all of your stand-up through Robbie?
No. No, I have no idea how was it for you?
Again, no idea. I was so focused on trying to, because there was so much character and there was so much intonation in what you were doing and so much timing that I didn't want to mess that up. And I knew because there's like a quarter second delay, I knew that I might mess it up. So I was just so focused on that I have no idea.
That's crazy. And
yeah.
I didn't know if I should slow things down or just do it regular. So I asked a couple people and they said just like do it regular. So I did that. Yeah.
I think we
felt
got
so
it
weird.
all.
Yeah?
And I must say, your impression of a uterus?
Yeah!
Uncanny.
Oh, I can't wait to see that. I got to see it.
Well, once more, round of applause for this is Julia Johns and Robbie. Thank you all folks so much. Thank you so much. That was fantastic. All right, that wraps up our evening. I just want to say, first of all, thank you all so much for coming out tonight. Oh, thank you. That really wraps it up. We had a great time. Just one quick announcement. I just want to say, so Second Body was born out of an arts incubator called Sightline Arts. But for the past 9 weeks. Sorry, I was thinking of uteruses. Sorry, for the past 9. It's actually me saying that. I don't have an earbud in. For the past 6 weeks, we've been in residence at a startup incubator called Antler down in New Lab in Brooklyn, and we're raising venture money to scale it and bring this experience and bring this conversation to more people. So please, if you want to come to more events, more experiences, please go to secondbody.co. You can sign up for our mailing list. You can also do that out in the lobby. And we want to show that artists and creators bring meaningful and measurable value to the world. So thank you so much for being a part of this community. Thank you to our panelists, to Leah Fessler, to Chanel Ward, for Linda Paul. Thank you to all of our actors, Ava Eisenson, Cario Marcel, and Julia Vallon. Thank you to Julia Johns, our amazing comic, along with Robbie and all of the other audience members who participated tonight. And thank you so much to the Green Space staff, including most especially Sachi, Jen, and Cameron. So thank you. Huge round of applause to all of them. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful night. Hope to see you next time.